Hello everybody, good evening. It's probably a few minutes to 7 or maybe 7 o'clock, but we're right there. I'm just gonna start trying to get some time to get people to join, and then we'll start with how to make the mocha coffee as your nonna would make at home in Italy or in Canada, wherever you are. So, as we wait, I would like to share this one here. It's a little trick. Most times when a coffee machine is closed, so first of all, a good coffee machine that you know that's gonna make good coffee, most of the times doesn't look super shiny like this one. It's supposed to look a little scruffy. If you open it, you might see some black stains. That's the coffee. It means the coffee machine is good. That's all I'm trying to get. When you try to open a coffee machine, it's hard to open. Most people make the mistake of grabbing the handle and pressing. It will open, but now you're putting all the pressure over here, and in the long run, you will end up losing this piece, and you will end up replacing your coffee machine. So what I suggest you do, you grab a towel, right? If you get your two people, it's better, and you grab the towel, and you twist from the top, and you open. That way, if there's water, if there's any oil, it won't get, it's not too hard. You can still open it. So, I guess we're ready to start. So, the first thing we do when we try to make coffee, once you open the coffee machine, is you take the top off, that's the filter, and you want to use some water. You want to put some water in the coffee machine. That's the first thing you want to do. Now, the water. Most people ask, what temperature of water should I use? Now, the water, let's start by saying that it usually sinks when the water, hot water in a sink is not as good as the cold water. So what we're going to do is we're going to use room temperature to cold water. So something in between room temperature and cold, but definitely more towards the colder side. Now, how much water am I putting in the coffee machine? So there's one thing that we can use that is really easy. I'm going to show you better now. So the valve, which is also what saves your life, you want to use this as a point of reference. So when you're filling up the coffee machine with the coffee container with water, I'm going to show you now. You want to make sure that you put water more or less where the valve is. So we're not there yet. We're still missing some water. There you go. So now you don't want to put too much water. You don't want to put too much water, and you also don't want to put not too little water. Because what happens if you put too little water, the coffee will end up burning because there's not enough steam to go up to the tube and get the coffee. If there's too much water at the same time, the coffee is not going to taste as good. Now there's something, it's like a test to see if the water level is good. Laura, if you want to come closer. When we put in the filter, if by putting the filter, the water is going to come up the filter level, it means there's too much water. So we'll see what's going to happen now. So as you can see, there's water. You see that? So that means there's too much water. So what we'll do is by simply doing this, you're removing the excess water. So now, see where the valve is, we'll put it again. Still a little bit too much water. We'll do this once more. That should be good. We'll do this. We want to make a perfect coffee. There you go. That's how the water should look like. So now, the other part is we put the coffee in. Obviously, first we open coffee. We're using Lavazza Qualità Rossa, which you'll find it in every Italian household. You'll find Lavazza Qualità Rossa or Qualità Oro, one of the two. It's well known in Italy and it's easy to get here in Canada. Now, we usually use a scissor. This is air sealed, so we want to remove the air sealing from it. Open a little bit here. Alright, so the other important question is how much coffee am I putting in the filter? If you put too much coffee, you're gonna burn it. If you not put enough coffee, you're gonna get a watered coffee. So, you want me to move over there, Laura, or you want to bring the camera over here to show how much coffee I'm gonna put in it? So, when putting the coffee, you want to make sure that you get to the level where the filter is. Now, how much you're pressing is really important. So, every time you put the coffee, you want to do this little job here. So, you want to try to level it out. And then this is gonna leave room for more coffee. So instead of pressing, you keep leveling out. It's better than pressing coffee, because pressed coffee might get you burnt coffee, which you don't want then. So you put a bit more. So you're gonna see the coffee, it almost looks, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create a little hole in the middle, and then you want it to look like a little volcano in the middle, just like that. There you go. And you don't want to press harder than this, because once we're gonna put the lid back on, it's gonna press it for us. So it's different than an espresso coffee. This is mocha, which we're gonna get into the difference later. Now let's make sure the filter is there, otherwise the water is gonna come out. Always make sure your valve is nice and clean. If this little guy here it's dirty and it's not clean, and the water and the air doesn't come out, then you might not exploding with the coffee machine and your whole kitchen. So let's not do that. So when you're closing a coffee machine, you want to make sure it's tight. It's gotta be tight. Don't be afraid. Use your magic friend here. The towel is your friend in the kitchen, even when you're making coffee. Nice and tight. Usually my grandmother, when it's time to, she makes the coffee, but when it's time to close the machine or open the machine, that's when the nephews come into place. You guys, nephews, we have to be able to open the coffee machines for Nana. Otherwise there's no coffee. Now, temperature. Now, it's not a gas stove, right? But when you're, first of all, you want to use the smaller of the stoves here, of the quadrant. So we're going to use this one here in this case, which is over here. And you want to put it in between medium and low. So you don't want to put it too high. You want to put it, I'll put it at 3.5. So we want to make sure the coffee slowly starts getting humid. So you can start getting the water to almost boil. Right there, it's gonna start evaporating and it's gonna start smelling like coffee. That's when, if you want your house to smell like coffee, put it low. Otherwise, you're gonna get something really quick and it's not gonna taste as good. So now we're gonna clean a little bit here. Just gonna move this. All right, so now we gotta wait until the coffee gets ready. So in the meantime, I'm gonna get Laura to ask me some questions, and you guys feel free to share your questions live. I'll answer them too. But Laura, go ahead.
Well, before we start, we actually have some live questions already.
All right.
So the first question was, is the valve covered? So do you want to take it off the burner? Probably not.
Not right now. So the valve, it comes like this. I didn't do anything to the valve. When you buy the coffee machine, the coffee machine comes like this. All you gotta make sure you do is every time you finish your coffee, don't wash it with soap. My grandma will yell at you if you wash your coffee machine with soap. You finish your coffee, wash it under hot water, and that's it. That's what you do. And then you put it back. So I hope that answers the question about the valve. Now, if you do cover the valve or dirt goes in the valve and it gets clogged, then you will end up exploding with your coffee machine.
Does the water cover the valve when you fill it up though?
So the valve, that doesn't really matter. It's just a point of reference in terms of where you want the water to stop. Now, if it's under the valve, it's not going to change in terms of the safety. All it's going to change is the quantity of water in the coffee. Hence, you're going to get a stronger coffee because it's less water.
Right. And if you're not sure that you've lined it up in the right place, you can test with the...
You test with the filter. So if the filter, the water is coming, you always want to put a bit more water, then test with the filter and take the water out with the filter. You don't want to put water, put the filter, the water doesn't show, which means that it's not too full, but you don't know if it's too empty, which again, you will end up burning your coffee if the coffee doesn't come out.
Okay. What temperature water should go in it?
So there's not, I'm not going to give you degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit, because, no. But, as I said at the beginning, when most people weren't connected maybe yet, you want to use a medium to low, you want to use a room temperature to colder water. So not too cold, not room temperature, something in between. So you want the water to, you also want the water to start warming up. That's part of the process itself.
That makes sense.
Yes.
We have another question here. How fine is the grind of the coffee that we're using?
So this is probably the finest grind you'll find for coffee in general. So people know there's Americano coffee, you have your black coffee, which is more of the North American version of coffee. The espresso, it's thinner than the American coffee or the black coffee version of the coffee. Now the mocha, it's really, really, really thin. So you cannot use your Starbucks coffee that you use for your other coffee into a mocha. You won't get the same result. This is the thinnest you can find.
A fine grind.
Really the finest grind you can possibly have on your machine.
Okay. And you already said kind of that it's not pressed down very hard, that you're not tamping the coffee very hard, and that makes sense if we're using a fine grind.
Correct. And I might add that most people will see that coffee gets pressed really hard when you're making an espresso coffee, right? That's where the difference. Now, if you want to leave that for a different conversation, we can talk about the difference, we can.
No, tell me now.
But the pressing itself, so the word espresso it means fast, right? Espresso, it means fast. So that came out later on. But the first coffee came from here. They had different versions of the mocha machine. You can find the French press. It's the same style, just different names because we all like to say that we came up with it first. However, the concept is you have the coffee really thin and you're letting the steam getting the aroma of the coffee. And then the boiling gets the water out. An espresso, because it's a mechanical machine that came out after, they're able to reach so high temperature in a fraction of a second that the coffee needs to be pressed really strong in order for not to burn. So it's a different, it's completely different, right? It's a different, and espresso taste is stronger than what a regular mocha does.
So this is not really an espresso then?
No, we cannot define it as an espresso. However, let me break this myth about espresso, coffee, black coffee, mocha. So in Italy, we don't go at the bar and we ask for an espresso. We go at the bar, we ask for coffee. You naturally know, based on your environment, that if you're asking for coffee at a coffee shop, you'll get an espresso. If you're at home and you ask your mom, can I have a coffee? Now, because there wasn't that much money, usually like in Rome in general, because it's a lot of people have no money, they couldn't afford the machine itself. So, serious of today, if you tell people, I want a coffee, at home, in a home environment, most people will make a mocha right away. Your nonna will make a mocha, your mom will make a mocha. Now, probably if you go now, obviously people are, everybody has an espresso machine or some sort of espresso machine. You can get an espresso at home too. Yes, so it's different. Espresso and mocha. Completely different.
That's good.
But it's pretty good, both of them. Now I want to show you a little episode about what happened with the valve, because it is beautiful, but it is also dangerous. So let's also make sure that when we're making coffees, obviously kids, don't get them close to the stove. It's hot, it can explode. Now, my grandmother will yell at you if you're standing in front of the coffee machine as the coffee is being made. She will literally yell at you, she'll eat your life, you better run away. So, why? Because, as I said before, sometimes if the coffee is not coming out and the valve is not perfectly clean, there's a lot of steam, right? There's a lot of steam in the bottom of the coffee machine. If there's not enough water, there's too much steam. Now what's going to happen is that the pressure of the water and the steam will end up breaking this, even though it is a really hard material.
Okay.
So just make sure that it is like there's always an adult that knows how to make coffee around the coffee machine, no kids. And I suggest you come and check it here and there. Now, I suggest people tend to do this. Don't do this as often as you want, because as I know that the heat comes from down, but the same reason why an oven cooks better or a different way by induction is almost the same thing with a coffee machine. So if you open the lid, now you're allowing fresh air to go inside and bring the temperature down. So keep the lid down until you start hearing noise. And then we'll talk about the noise, because the noise, it is probably 50% of the realization of a coffee. You know it by the noise, so make sure you get familiar with the noise.
And we'll get to that after.
Yes, we'll get to that after when we'll hear it. It will take at least another probably 5 minutes.
Somebody actually asked that. How long will it take the coffee to brew on the stove?
So let's say that depends on how also big is your coffee machine. So this machine, so the coffee machine goes from 1 to 2 cups, which is tiny, small. Then you have your 5, your 4, your 5, your 6, your 8, your 10. Then this one here, it is actually, I'm really proud of it because obviously it's a Bialetti made in Italy. We have a big history behind Bialetti coffee machines. They're sold worldwide. And this one here, it's a 24 cups coffee machine. Before I left Italy 6 years ago, my father decided to give me and my mom this huge coffee machine to bring with us because you really couldn't find it here.
And how many cups does it make?
It's 24. Now, if someone makes a cup of coffee into this kind of cup, we probably make 2 cups. Well, this becomes a 3-cup coffee machine. Now, let's share for a second why it's so important to have the right espresso cup that can can have different shapes. But you want to make sure that it's usually half cup. So half cup of a regular cup, you should more or less come the same size. This will fill about 24 of them, right? So that's it. Now this one here will obviously take longer than this one here will. So it's hard to give you a time and say 5 minutes for all coffees. That's not true. This one here, it will probably take another 5 to 6 minutes, but it's something that you might want to check every 2 to 3 minutes just to make sure you're hearing a noise, and then you check. And when you check, just go really light on it.
Stop checking. You're never gonna boil.
You're right. You're right. So yeah, so that's our cute coffee cups. That's our big coffee machine. Yeah. So did I share the story that I was talking about the valve? No, I said I was gonna share a story about the valve because it's dangerous. So once, make it really short. Once in Calabria, talking about probably 15 years ago, we were kids, me and my brother, really young, and we were sleeping, and all of a sudden we hear this huge noise. And my mom screamed and my grandma screamed like someone came in the house trying to steal everything. And everybody smelled coffee. So we come downstairs and I never smelled coffee so strong in my life, and there was coffee everywhere. Every single piece of wall had coffee on it, and literally I saw the coffee machine that really broke. And my mom did get burns on her arms and stuff. So, and if you're watching, please share your experience, your comments. If anybody had some bad experience with coffee, please share, because we can probably talk about it too. Any other question?
We have a comment. Our 3-cup spits water a little bit out the thread. What would cause this?
So over here?
I guess so.
So yes, because a coffee machine, regardless, I said, if it's a ventilator or not, literally it is 3 components. The top, the bottom where you put the water, and the filter. So this is this is the only place where water will come out. If it comes out of the valve, there is a problem. It shouldn't be coming out that much water out of the valve. Now, that either means you put too much water, so too much pressure, the water has to come out somewhere. So one of them is, if you've done the filter exercise, you probably won't have water there. If you still have water coming out, then it's a problem of in between the 2 pieces that come together and they get screwed, there's a little cushion of silicone cushion. Make sure, that's important, make sure the silicone cushion is always clean and there, that doesn't move. Because if that's broken or it's not sitting properly, then you'll get, because the pressure is so strong in there, that it will come out the water. So it's time to change your machine or just change the little cushion in between it.
And that was actually another question that we had, how to replace the plastic ring beneath the top. So I'm assuming they were talking about the cushion. So maybe when our coffee's done, if we can, we'll open it up and take a look at the end. So
usually you start seeing this little disc corroding after many years of using a coffee machine. So either it is actually time to buy a new one. Now, if it's your grandmother's gift, you don't want to get rid of it, then you can just change the piece. You simply, I'm going to show you after, you simply extract it, and then you can go to any store, hardware store that sells these cushions, and you just replace them. Just make sure you bring it with you so you see how wide it is, and you can buy the same one. But it literally is these 3 pieces of steel with a little cushion. So we'll talk about it. Really important also, you'll notice that there is a filter that goes inside, and then you can use this on the coffee machine. So I'm going to show you the difference between this one here, which I'm going to extract, and the other one after on this one here, which is, it's actually starting to come off. But all you do is you just want to grab it from the side.
Can you come a little closer?
You want to grab it. See? Without this, water will come out. This will allow the water not to come out. Now, this other piece here, that's not a filter now. If this guy here is clogged, you will have the same problem. Water will not come up, and you will have water coming out of your coffee machine, and it's actually dangerous. Again, it can explode. I'm terrifying everybody with explosions, but no, literally, you just want to make sure, good maintenance, the same way you do an oil change to your car. Just make sure you put some hot water in your filter, and you put water here, and if it comes down from here, it means that it's clean, right? So that's kind of the test, the only really test you can do for the coffee machine, and then you put it back in.
That makes sense.
That's all.
Somebody else asked, sometimes when my mom makes coffee, it's bitter. Is this the coffee or is it how it was packed in?
So now the level of bitterness is really, I would say it's not objective, it's really subjective. So what's bitter for me might not be bitter for other people. So let's start by that. But also we have to be understanding that mocha is overall a bitter coffee because of the process of how you make it, which is reaching high temperatures this way, which is not mechanical, it's not electric, but it's literally water boiling and getting the coffee to come up. You will have a more bitter taste regardless. Now the bitterness can be changed based on how much coffee you put in. If you put a lot of coffee in, you'll get a stronger taste. Bitter, strong, it's kind of, in this case, it's kind of a synonym. Then the other reason why it can be bitter is you overcooked it. You overboiled the water. You overboil the water, so that can be another thing that could have happened. So now I'm starting to hear just the water boiling. So I know that right now there's no coffee coming up, but as I can see, a bit of water is coming out of here. And why is that? Because the garnish that I have, it wasn't the best.
The garnish? What do you mean by that?
Sorry, the
ring, the plastic ring.
The little plastic silicone ring. It was not the best silicone ring.
Do we need to tighten it more?
That's what happens. No, it's just old. But I don't want to get rid of it because there's an attachment to this coffee machine. And I forgot now which one. But I know there was an attachment to this coffee machine, I promise.
So you need to go replace that ring.
Yeah, I will just buy another coffee machine, I think. I have a nice red one. I just can't find it anymore.
So if I was making coffee with my mocha at home and it wasn't boiling for some reason, do you have any tips? What could I do?
Okay, yes. So my grandmother used to do this. So she used to, if you see that it's been a while now and you're pretty sure you put the water you want and you put the coffee you wanted, instead of just getting the whole thing and throwing it, a trick that my grandmother used to do is just grab the coffee machine, bring it towards the sink, put just the base. So it's not a circle. It is actually there's like seven sides. Each side gets about 1 second of cold water on. So you're actually opening the sink, cold water, and you're putting the coffee machine under cold water. Just the base, not the top. You don't want water to come in here. Just the base. Then put it back on the stove again.
Right away?
Right away. And then after about a minute, you should let the coffee coming out. You almost force it. Don't ask me how chemically I can't seem to find a way around how this can be possible. But I swear to God, guys, I've seen it happen before. My grandma does. Also, let me say something. So this is the tutorial how Alessio, in his household, has been making coffee for a long time. And most of my friends. But I'm from Rome. Now, if you go in Naples, which it's known as the best coffee in Italy, and I'm gonna say this, guys, I know somebody's watching, might be from Naples, who's from Rome, who's from Milano, don't get offended, I'm from Rome and I'm still saying from Naples. It is, according to me, the best coffee, but however, everybody has little tips to it. So, someone might be watching and saying, Alessio, my grandmother puts an orange peel on the top, just to give it a rope. That's fine. It doesn't mean that my way is the only way of doing it, but it's definitely one of the most traditional ways of making coffee. Yes. And now, if you want to come closer, you can start seeing vapor coming out of it. Again, if you see this vapor coming out of it, it is not actually the best sign ever, because it still means that the ring is not super tight. However, now we can hear, and now it's starting to smell like coffee now, because it's been there. It's been a 3.5/4, and it's been there for a while. Little tip also, especially on gas stoves, try not to keep the handle on the try to keep the coffee machine on a corner so that the actual handle doesn't sit right there, because most of the times people literally melt it on their hands. So in here we can start to hear a noise, and by just giving it a peek from here, because I can actually see the coffee coming up beautifully. Now, can we get the camera super close so we can hear the noise? Okay, now if you can hear this noise, a little peek. Coffee is ready. So literally half an inch before the little holes, that's when you want to turn it off. So we turned it off. I'm not removing it from the stove right away. I'm letting it sit for another about 10 to 15 seconds. Just the time I do this. That's my mom's trick. Thank you, Mom, because I've never seen this one here before. So you open the coffee machine, and what you do is you steer it from the bottom to the top.
While the burner's still on?
Yes. No, it's off now.
Oh, okay.
It is over here still, but you just give it a little twist. Why? Because the first coffee you came out, it's richer, and it came at the bottom. So if you don't do this, the first people you're gonna serve are gonna have a lighter coffee than the last people gonna be served. So make sure you just give it a little stir like this, bottom to top. Oh, I wish you guys can smell what I'm smelling in here.
It smells good.
So let's see how coffee comes out.
We actually have some questions before.
Yes.
Maybe we'll go through those first. I think you already answered this one. Somebody said, is it okay to use the element of a flat top stove that is larger than the base of the mocha pot? Won't it melt the handle of the mocha pot? So I think you kind of answered that one. Like Alessio said, keep the pot on the side so that the handle does not melt.
And then you also use kind of common sense, right? If you're using a stove, one of those that's too big, the coffee machine would actually fall, which had happened to me before. That's why I'm making sure that nobody does it.
It seems like there was a lot of trial and error involved in you learning how to make coffee.
Yeah.
Do you make la crema with sugar and coffee?
Do I make la crema with sugar and coffee? So la crema di caffè, it's art. It's pure art. You need a whole machine. It's a whole system. You can't just make crema di caffè like that. What you can make though is this, which it was possible up until years ago when I was still in Italy. I don't know now if things are changing, but once you make mocha or espresso, even if you're a bar, and you end up not finishing it, you can reheat it, but it's not going to taste the same. What most people do, or what some people do, what we used to do, is you grab an empty bottle from the fridge. Make sure it's glass. You don't want to use plastic. You use this glass bottle. Okay? And every time you have leftover coffee or espresso, you put it into the bottle, and for every cup of coffee, not a cup like this kind of cup, you put about 2 small bags of sugar. Yes, it's not beautiful for, if you have diabetes, it's definitely not your favorite thing, but and then you stick it in the fridge.
Okay.
And the beauty is, it's not ready right now, you gotta wait until the bottle is full. So by the time the bottle is full, the coffee sat there for so long that the taste is just unbelievable. And so it's called cold coffee. It's actually more expensive than regular espresso. Weird.
We have more questions.
Go ahead.
Do you add sugar or drink it black for an authentic taste?
So that's really personal. So I answer what I do. I drink it without sugar for the reason that bitter leaves the taste of coffee longer in your mouth. I find sugar kind of takes it away faster, right? So I like my black. You talk to my grandmother, and what she says is this: La vita è così amara che il caffè lo prendo dolce, which means life is so bitter already as it is. So why would I have my coffee bitter? I'll put some sugar in it. But again, that all depends how you like it.
Somebody else asked, is the caffeine from a coffee in the mocha the same as an espresso? So is a mocha coffee more caffeinated?
So here's the thing. Now, caffeinated or not caffeinated, at the end of the day, it's how much grounded coffee you're using for that portion in your glass. So an espresso has usually an average of 35 milligrams of caffeine per espresso. By only using tiny little bit of coffee, definitely not using as much as I use for the mocha. Now, so comparing an espresso to the mocha, the cup of mocha has more caffeine than espresso. But you're not drinking a whole cup of mocha for yourself. Otherwise, yes, there will be probably 300 milligrams of caffeine in here at least. And think about a regular, now don't quote me on this one here exactly, but a regular black coffee, medium coffee, black coffee, I won't name the brand, it has about 150 milligrams of caffeine.
Okay. Because
it put more coffee. So if all you're using is a little bit of this, you might end up drinking only 15 milligrams of caffeine. So it all depends. It's portion control, right? Yeah.
That's good. I'm waiting to see if we get any more questions. I don't think so. Shall we try our coffee?
Let's try our coffee. Okay, so it's important also to see the consistency of the coffee. It's really important. Let me stir one more time. I have the tendency of washing everything I use even for half a second. That's a good Alright, one more stir. Now, when the coffee comes down, it shouldn't be too liquidy, and it shouldn't. If it's too thick, it's too bitter. So again, you have to think about more coffee, thicker, bitter. So the more, everything is proportional, right? So now, we'll see. Now, when you pour in coffee, there's a trick in the coffee machine pouring and the coffee mocha pouring. Now, if you tilt the machine too much, you'll end up over pouring from everywhere, and you're gonna end up making a mess, which is what I'm telling you not to do. But I still do it every time, but that's a different conversation. But you should bring the cup towards the little, towards the end, or towards the opening, not the machine towards the coffee cup. Not the machine towards the coffee cup. It's the other way around. Bring your cup towards your coffee machine.
While you're pouring, we have another question. Any thoughts on electric mocha pots, or is that just a no-no?
I mean, okay, so I don't want to be close-minded, but when you're making the mocha, it is okay. So if you're drinking coffee because you just care about the final product, definitely you can use an electric mocha. I've never used it, but I'm pretty sure that what it's gonna do is it's gonna heat the water and have coffee. So it's the same principle. It doesn't really matter if it's electric or by hand.
Sure.
But it's more about the process, right? In Italy, people always talk about the siesta, which is not called, it's like the nap, the siesta, or pisolino, however you want to call it. But that's kind of the principle for which we enjoy everything that we do. So from the moment we eat food at the table, we want to sit down and we want to enjoy food. When you're preparing coffee, the preparation of coffee, it's actually, when someone comes over, preparing coffee for them, it's art. It means something. It's not just the coffee itself. We enjoy the process, not much just the final product. So you can use an actual mocha. I will keep my...
You're going to keep with your traditional one?
I'll keep my traditional one. Keep repeating my little discs.
Apparently that's what you're going to do after this.
Yeah, sure.
I'm waiting to see if any other questions come through, but I think we're done.
Let's see how...
Should we try our
So
coffee?
you don't want it too full. I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of... Can you smell? Can you guys smell this? Oh, no, not yet? No? We're not that technology, we're not that advanced
Not
yet?
quite there yet.
Okay.
Maybe next year is Online Italian Week.
Well, next year I'll make it maybe with an electric...
electric mocha.
Electric mocha. Or... Let's see, with Tesla comes out with one.
Can I have one of these?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you, guys. I hope that helps you a bit with your coffee tutorial, and I hope you can now use what I just taught you, and you can go and make one for your grandmother and surprise her. Cheers
and
for
tomorrow,
now.
Tomorrow night we have a bedtime story at 7 p.m. So join us.
So don't drink the coffee though.
No.
Just drink that in the morning. Ciao.